Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is the 6th of May 2013, and we are on the 4th day of our retreat, Healing, Interbeing, Happiness. Today we have a session of questions and answers, and we have the opportunity to ask the question of our heart. We know that a good question can benefit many people. That is why we should ask the question that has to do with our suffering, our practice, and so on. And we know that a good question does not have to be a very long question. So those who have a question are invited to come up here and sit around Thầy. Priority will be given to the young people.
I have a business plan to create tea and meditation brand, which is to serve green tea or healthy related teas, and also to provide a place where people can practice meditation. So my question to you is that what would be the most important element of all in order for my future customers to have mindfulness?
Well, we may arrange a place where people can feel comfortable. There should be enough silence. We need the tea and the cushions and things like that, but what is more important is to have someone peaceful, smiling, fresh, in order to be there. We don't need a lot of rituals, but we do need someone who can inspire us to breathe, to relax, and to have a real healing time during tea drinking. Not sometimes, but most of the time, when we conduct a tea ceremony, we are caught by the rituals. We don't really enjoy it. And we need someone who can really drink tea peacefully and happily to be in that room. And you cannot hire such a person. Just see him or her drinking tea, you see peace, happiness, relaxation. So you can come to a retreat and look around, see someone, invite him or her to come and help you. And in that tea place, we may offer sessions of total deep relaxation for the employees. If you know how to teach your employees the art of mindful walking, mindful drinking, mindful eating, and then there will be more peace and joy in your company, and your company will be more successful thanks to the dimension of peace and spirituality that you can bring into the life of your business. Good luck.
I am very honored to have a question to Thai. Everyone has their own character and appearance. I think it's natural. But when I see someone's look or when I hear someone's voice, I judge a person naturally. I don't want to be a person who judges a book by its cover. I judge someone without any consideration, but only my own conscious from information what I get. The problem is that process happens very fast without my mind and will. Please let me pass in your wisdom.
We have a certain way of perceiving a person, and that habit of seeing hearing, judging may prevent us to be in touch with the real person. I think a person always radiate a kind of energy. The energy may be positive, negative, wholesome or unwholesome, and we should be there in order to feel, not to judge. You know that to understand a person is a long process. When you love someone, you have an idea about him or her, and your idea might be very wrong, and you keep that idea for a long time. And 1 year after you marry him, you discover his real personality. I think there are many ways to help us to understand a person. When you talk to a person, you might notice that that person knows how to listen to you or not. If that person interrupts you a lot of times, then you know that that person has no capacity to listen and to understand you. And when you tell him or her something, you may see, you may notice, you might find out whether that person is truly listening to you or not. And when you hear him speaking, hear her speaking, you can find out a lot about that person. So let us not to be caught by the appearance, the sound, and so on, in order for us to have a chance to truly getting in touch and understand that person. And if we know who we are, we understand ourselves, and then we have more chance to understand the person sitting in front of us. Many of us believe that we already know who we are, and in fact that we have not known who we truly are. In the Zen tradition, there is a kungan, who is the person invoking the Buddha's name? And that means, I do not know who am I. And the fact is that when you find out who you are, you have more chance to understand who the Buddha is, who the person in front of you is. You may have a wrong perception about yourself. And based on that foundation, you have wrong perceptions of other people around you. So the first thing we should do is to ask our question, do I know who am I?
스님 뵙게 돼서 영광입니다. 오늘 제가 스님께 여쭙고 싶은 것은 불교 수행의 목적인 깨달음이란 무엇인가에 대해서 좀 여쭙고 싶습니다. 저희 한국 불교의 근간은 화두선, 공안선을 위주로 수행을 하는데 저희 불자들, 한국적 불자들의 대부분은 깨달음이란 선언에서 화두선을 열심히 해갖고 타파를 했을 때 오는 어떤 그런 상태다, 이렇게 보편적으로 좀 이해를 하고 있습니다. 그래서 우리 보편적 불자들은 그런 부처님이 설하신 깨달음의 길에 쉽게 근접하지 못하는 것으로 이렇게 이해를 하고 있습니다. 스님은 깨달음에 대해서 어떻게 정의를 하시고 또 우리 불자들이 깨달음을 그렇게 어려운 것으로 이해하는 것이 바람직한지에 대해서 여쭙고 싶습니다.
Enlightenment is always enlightenment about something. It should not be just an idea or a notion. Suppose you breathe in mindfully, and thanks to that practice of breathing in mindfully, you realize that you are alive. So, I am alive is already an enlightenment. When you practice breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes, and you see that you have eyes still in good condition, that is already enlightenment. When you breathe in and notice that is anger and fear in you, that you should try to transform that fear and anger in you in order to be truly happy, that is already enlightenment. And where there is mindfulness and concentration, there is enlightenment. And you don't have to spend 2 years, 3 years, 5 years in order to have some enlightenment. The purpose of Buddhist practice is to suffer less, to transform your suffering. And that is why enlightenment, first of all, is enlightenment about your suffering. You suffer and you do not know that you suffer. That is the absence of enlightenment. You suffer and yet you do not know the roots of your suffering. You need enlightenment about the cause, the roots of your suffering. You suffer and you do not know the path leading out of suffering. There is no enlightenment. So enlightenment, awakening should be something that can be available right in the here and the now, and not something you expect from the practice 3 years or 10 years after. And the true practice of meditation should address, should take care of the real situation, the real kind of suffering that you have in yourself, and the suffering that is there in the world. Suppose we have a lot of tension in our body. That is suffering. To know that there is tension in the body, to know that there must be a way to release the tension in our body, that is already enlightenment. To know the way to release the tension in just 1 or 2 minutes, that is already enlightenment. Suppose a couple who cannot talk to each other, communication is blocked. That is the kind of real suffering that you have to encounter. And enlightenment is to know why such a situation has become possible. Enlightenment is to know how to restore communication and to reconcile. And that is why our practice should aim very concretely at the suffering that we have to undergo every day. Cúng án, thoại đầu are devices that have been invented by our spiritual ancestors to help us. But they are not all the practice recommended by the Buddha. Some cúng án, some people may succeed with that cúng án, but some other people do not succeed with the same cúng án. Suppose you come to a Zen master and he suggests that you practice the cúng án, the cypress in the courtyard. And you have real suffering, you have difficulty relating to your wife and your husband, and do you think that the kungan, the cypress in the courtyard can help you to restore communication between you and your wife and so on? One of the characteristics of the Dharma is appropriateness. The practice should be appropriate in order to bring the result. I myself have a practice Thoại Đầu and Kungan. I have even taught my students to do so. But in the last 30 years, I have used other kind of practice, and they can help people more quickly. In the time of the Buddha, people did not practice Kungan and Thoại Đầu, and they got enlightenment and liberation anyway. That is why, in order to help renew Buddhism, so that Buddhism can serve as many people as it could, I think we have to offer other practices, because in Buddhism we speak about 84,000 ways of practice and not just one. If a farmer try a kind of fertilizer that does not help, he should change the kind of fertilizer in order to have a better crop. If you practice, if you have a practice that has lasted 5 years or 7 years, but it has not helped you to suffer less, then you have to try other kind of practice. And that is why the Buddha has said several times, the Dharma and the practice should be appropriate. And if people find that the practice helps them to restore joy and happiness, to transform their suffering, they will come back to Buddhism, and they do not abandon the tradition to embrace another tradition. And that is why when I go to any country where Buddhism has been a foundation for the culture and the civilization of the country, I always urge Buddhist leaders to sit down and discuss about how to renew Buddhism, so that Buddhism could continue to serve the country and the people like it did in the past. Otherwise, we are losing ground. In the 2,500 years of Buddhist history, our teachers have renewed Buddhism several times. And now there is a time, this is a time when we have to renew Buddhism so that Buddhism can continue its service.
This is very honored to meet you here. And my question is, I've learned from you from Dharma talk yesterday to say like, darling, I'm here for you. I know you're there, so I'm happy. But for me, it is not easy to find someone to say like this. This is not only my own private question, but also a problem of our society right now in Korea. So what I have to do, prepare to meet my destiny, or what I have to first most consider to meet someone. Thank you.
Well, the practice of the mantras can be used to create more harmony and happiness between us and our father and our mother, our brother, our sister. We have to begin right away. And if you are not used to it, and the first time you can write it down on a sheet of paper and give it to him or to her. And then you can always ask a friend to go and to do it for you. She will say that she loves you quite a lot. She wanted to say she's there for you, but she's a little bit shy, so I'm doing it for her. And I think these two mantras can be used already with our friends whom we meet every day. As for the person that we want to choose for our life, I suggest that you just take care of yourself, and that person will appear naturally. You don't have to look for him. You take care of yourself. You practice so that you can preserve your freshness, your beauty, your peace, your solidity, and then suddenly that person will come naturally. You don't have to look for him. And when that person show up, you would know that that is the right person for you, because you have enough calm, enough peace, enough right perceptions in order to recognize that person as a person you want to be with for a long time. And if you do not have enough calm, enough peace, enough clarity in your way of perceiving, you cannot recognize him, and you may commit yourself to the wrong person.
저는 예전에 교사였었는데요. 아이들이 가슴이 아픈 게 너무 많이 슬펐습니다. 그래서 저는 누군가를 돕기 위해서는 그런 사랑하는 능력을 먼저 길러야 되는 것을 알고 지금은 거기 온전히 집중하고 있는데요. 그래서 여기 지금 있는 게 되게 많이 배우고 있습니다. 그래서 플럼빌리지에서 하는 그 명상 수업에 관한 책과 그런 자료들을 참고해서 아이들에게 명상을 함께 하고 있는데요. 그러면서 아이들이 굉장히 빠르고 직관적으로 마음을 변화시키는 것을 많이 목격하고 만날 수 있었습니다. 하지만 지금 그 일을 계속하면서 한계를 좀 느끼고 있는데요. 그건 우리나라 교육 시스템 자체가 굉장히 경쟁적이고, 그런 경쟁적인 시스템 속에서 하나하나 되게 아름다운 그래서 제가 느끼기에 아이들이 하나하나 너무 아름다운 꽃을 품고 있는 씨앗인데 몇 가지 꽃만 아름답다고 하니까 자기대로 피지 못하고 있는 걸 많이 봐요. 그래서 좀 많이 느낀 그 이유를 구체적으로 많이 생각해 봤는데, 그런 제도나 그리고 아이들이 엄마가 있음에도 불구하고 엄마가 모성이 없다고 느끼는 거예요. 그래서 우리 사회에서 근데 어머니들도 굉장히 많은 스트레스와 많은 압박 속에서 그런 모성이 훼손되고, 그런 교육에 있어서 그런 제도적 한계를 극복하고 그런 모성 혹은 아이들이 충분히 꽃피울 수 있게 그런 조언을 좀 해줬으면 좋겠습니다.
I know a professor of mathematics in Toronto. He began with his class, and he was so successful. His class made a lot of progress, and the whole school have imitated him. And when the time came for his retirement, the whole school asked him to stay for a few more years to help. That professor came to Plum Village and practiced and got transformation. healing, and he was able to see the suffering in his students. Even the students are stubborn, violent, and so on. But he already had enough understanding and compassion. That is why he suffered much less when he looked at them. Many have come from broken family where father and mother make each other suffer. And he came back to school with the intention to help the students to suffer less. The first thing the students noticed that their teacher has changed a lot. His way of speaking and reacting is not violent, angry like before. One day when a student did not understand what he explained in class, he said, "My dear one, you don't understand because that is my fault. I have not tried my best to make it easier for you to understand." And he found time in order to listen to the suffering of his students because he has become a good listener, compassionate listener. Because he was able to listen to his students in turn was able to listen to him and understand his difficulties in school. And the atmosphere in the class has changed drastically since that kind of practice of listening to each other and understand the suffering in each other. They agree that every 15 minutes and then a schoolboy in the front line will clap the hand 2 times and everyone stop and practice mindful breathing like we do here with the breath. He taught them how to release tension. And then the quality of learning has increased because they are more relaxed, they are more able to listen and to do their homework better. And he also spent some time with other colleagues, school teachers, and discuss about what he has been doing. So many are trying to do the same thing. I think other school teachers, they suffer very much of the same thing. If you talk to them about that, they will agree that we should do something together in order for all the teachers to suffer less and to help the students to suffer less also. In the last 5 years, we monks and nuns in Plum Village, we have trained many hundreds of school teachers in many countries so that they can learn the practice and suffer less and bring that kind of practice into school. In the state of California, Governor Jerry Brown have invited us to come and try the method in a few schools that he had helped establish. We have organized many retreats for school teachers in India. We have taught in many high school, elementary school in India. And the students are capable of receiving, appreciating the practice. We have the international wake-up movements, wake-up schools, and where school teachers work together with young people, Buddhists and non-Buddhists, on how to bring this kind of practice into school, into the environment of young people. And we call it applied ethics or global ethics. And it's possible to have a non-religious version of the 5 mindfulness trainings to be used for any community, whether they are Buddhist or non-Buddhist. Many monks and nuns here, Dharma teachers, they are in the wake up movement, and you can talk to them and learn more about this. One written question.
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, there are two related questions about deep breathing. Sometimes when I breathe mindfully, my breathing becomes deep and I can concentrate better. But sometimes I cannot concentrate and my breathing is irregular. How does deep breathing help in being mindful? And another question about strong emotions and deep breathing. Due to the mind, I have experienced both heaven and hell in the period of one day. I have tried to be mindful and breathe deeply, but it didn't work, and it made me want to quit my practice. Please advise me on the teaching of the Buddha or the Sutra or the attitude in which I can turn to when I run into these sort of difficulties.
I don't think that we should try to force ourselves to breathe deeply. We should only be aware of our in-breath and our out-breath, no matter they are short or long. We should recognize our in-breath and out-breath as they are and not trying to bend them, to force them. And if you truly enjoy your in-breath and out-breath, it will naturally be slower and deeper by itself without your effort to make it slower or deeper. The essential is that you feel pleasant to breathe in and to breathe out. If you suffer during breathing in and breathing out, that's not a correct practice. In fact, it must be pleasant to breathe in and out, because we know that if our nose is blocked, if there is no fresh air in the room, we suffer. That is why to have fresh air to breathe in is something very pleasant. You can be very, very happy, just sit there and breathe in and out. And the moment I'm happiest is the moment when I sit and just breathe. But sometimes you feel that the pleasure will be bigger if your in-breath is deeper and your out-breath is longer, because it's more satisfying. And there are moments when I breathe only 4 times in and out with 1 minute. And that is natural, because I do not force myself to breathe in very deeply. It just become more pleasant if I allow it to be deeper. In the beginning of the practice, the quality of breathing, your quality of breathing may be poor. It may reflect your uneasiness, your suffering, your lack of peace. But if you keep being aware of your in-breath and out-breath, and then 1 or 2 minutes later, you notice that the quality of your in-breath and out-breath is improved, has been improved. Every practitioner knows this, because after a few minutes of breathing, the quality of our breathing is improved, it's calmer, it's more harmonious, it's more peaceful. And you begin to enjoy the joy and the happiness of the Dharma, Prabhupada, Dharma Dukkha, Dharma Sukha. The same thing is true with your emotion. If in the beginning of your practice of mindful breathing and holding your fear, your anger, your health, it does not seem to transform right away. But if you continue to breathe in and out mindfully, using the energy of mindfulness to hold your anger, your fear, your emotion, well, there will be transformation. You will get a relief, that's sure. Even you call it hell, you can say, hello there, hell, I know how to help you. And with the practice of mindful breathing, you generate the energy of mindfulness. And with that energy of mindfulness, you hold your hell tenderly like that, and it will calm down. The energy of mindfulness is the Buddha himself. And there is the Buddha there holding hell, so you don't have to worry. If the Buddha was not there, you may worry. But if the Buddha is already there, there is no reason why you have to be worried. The Buddha is not sitting in a Buddha hall. He can be found in your mindful breathing, mindful walking. The Buddha is more accessible than you might have thought.
제가 오늘 여쭤보고 싶은 것은 이제 제가 피해의식이 좀 강하다고 생각합니다. 이제 그 연유를 보니까 저희 어머니께서 보통 심한 시집살이가 아니라 제가 생각할 때는 아마 참혹한 시집살이라는 표현이 적당할 것 같습니다. 어머니가 항상 하시는 그 터짐 이런 그 이제 울부짖음 이런 걸 보면은요, 우선 본인이 가장 힘들어하셨고, 그리고 주변 분들도 힘들었고, 그리고 그 헤빗 에너지가, 그 습관적 에너지가 아마 저에게도 물려진 것 같아요. 그래서 타이께서 자비를 베푸셔가지고 이 헤빗 에너지를 멈출 수 있는 좋은 말씀 좀 부탁드립니다.
We should not be too eager to transform that energy. What we can do is to recognize it every time it manifests. If we train ourselves in the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful doing things, and then when that energy begins to come up, we can recognize it. And by the time you just say hello to it, hello there, my energy, I know you are there, you cannot push me to do things and to say things anymore. There is a young American practitioner who came to the upper hamlet of Plum Village and stayed for many months to practice. He has a very strong habit energy that he received from his mother. And that habit energy is always trying to finish what he is doing, always in a hurry. He does not find joy and peace and happiness while doing things. He just wants to do it quickly and to finish with. So the first 3 weeks, he was surrounded by the monks in the upper hamlet of Plum Village, and the collective energy of the monks helped him to go slowly, to do things slowly, to smile. And that habit energy did not have a chance to come up. So after that, on Thanksgiving Day, he was asked by the Sangha to go to the city nearby to do some shopping in order to prepare for an offering to be placed on the ancestral altar. He went to the market alone, and during the time of shopping, suddenly that energy, habit energy come up, and he tried to do it quickly in order to finish and go home. But because he had already practiced 3 weeks, that is why he was able to notice that the habit energy is coming back. And he saw that that is the energy of his mother. And he he just smile and say, "Hello, mommy, I know you are there." And after that, he is not in a hurry anymore. He continue to do the shopping quietly, peacefully, and that is because not because he has transformed his energy, but because he has been able to recognize that energy. So if the habit energy urges you to react quickly, you need only to smile to it and recognize it, and then it will lose its strength. It cannot push you to do it anymore, to say it anymore. And if we keep recognizing that habit energy like that, it will grow weaker and weaker, and sometime it will be transformed by itself. So you can coexist peacefully with that habit energy in you until it is transformed.
좀 바보 같을 수 있겠지만 제가 일단 종교가 없어요. 그래서 제 질문은 저는 일단은 어떻게 보면 평범한데 친구들하고 노는 것도 너무 좋아하고요. 술도 많이 마셔요. 그리고 백화점 가서 쇼핑하는 것도 너무너무 사랑해요. 그런데 저같이 어느 정도 만족하는 삶이거든요. 보통 그 세상에서는. 근데 이렇게 산다는 것이 이 종교적 관점에서 볼 때 얼마나 안 좋은 건지, 그리고 저 같은 사람은 죽으면 어떻게 되는지.
The happiness of one person can be measured by the quantity of understanding and love in him or her. Sometimes we think that we are happy, but we are not. We are just trying to cover up the loneliness, the suffering inside. And that is the characteristic of our society. There is a deep loneliness inside. We do not know the meaning of our life. We don't know what is the aim of being there. We see the suffering inside of us, and we see the suffering of the people around, and we feel helpless. We feel that we cannot do anything to help. And that is a deep state of ill being. And many of us do not know how to deal with that kind of ill being. And we try to forget, to cover up our suffering, our loneliness by the way of consumption. Alcohol, drugs, internet are the ways in order for us to run away from the problem, to forget, try to forget our suffering. To me, a person who is truly happy is a person who has a lot of understanding and a lot of compassion. Without the capacity to understand, without the capacity to love, one cannot be truly happy, one cannot relate and connect with other human beings and living beings. As for the question, where shall we go after we die? This can be answered by another question: where I am going now? If now I do not know where I am going, and then how can I know where I shall go after I die? In the Buddhist teaching, we learn that what we do with our body, what we say with our mouth, and what we think with our mind are the products of our action, karma. Everything we do, everything we say, every thought we produce are our continuations, our karma. And looking in the present moment, we already know where we are going. If you produce a thought of anger, of hate, we are going to hell. If we say something angry so that the other person will go and commit suicide, well, we are going to hell also. If we destroy lives of living beings, if we destroy our environment with our body, with our act, we are going also to hell now and not after we die. And if we produce a thought of understanding and compassion, that thought begins already to heal ourselves and help to heal the world. And with that kind of right thinking, we go to the Pure Land, right here and right now. We do not need to wait until this body to disintegrate in order to go to the Pure Land. If we can say something that help the person in front of us to suffer less, to have faith and joy, we are creating the Pure Land for us and for the other person right here and right now. So with our body, our speech, and our mind, we are creating whether hell or Pure Land right here and right now. If in the present moment we go to the Pure Land, the land of understanding and love, and I'm sure that after this disintegration of this body, the Pure Land will continue. And if in the present moment we create hell for us and for other people, we know that we are going to hell here and now, and after the disintegration of this body, there will be the continuation of hell. So this question of where I shall go can be answered scientifically right here and right now. If we are creating hell for us and for the other in the present moment, there is no hope that there will be a Pure Land in the future. That is illusion.
I'm really grateful to have been invited to come here. I don't know if I'm really representing Japan the way I look. My question to Thai is, I work with a lot of young people very concerned about climate change and nuclear power in Japan. There is a lot of suffering with the young people that I'm with because there is not a lot of hope for the future. And it's quite challenging because while I understand the practice is important and that sitting and walking mindfully is really what I should be practicing or what I would like to be practicing, it's hard to not engage with the larger issues that we're facing in society. So my question is, how do we balance the practice of sitting mindfully and breathing and just being here now and engaging with these larger issues that are moving forward, whether we like it or not? That's my question in short.
Well, the question is not whether we should practice sitting meditation, walking meditation, or we should spend more time to help change society. The problem is whether during the practice of sitting meditation, walking meditation, we can generate the energy of peace and compassion or not. If you can generate the energy of peace and compassion, that's not for you alone, that's for all of us in the world. What you can do to yourself in order to help you yourself to be more joyful, more healthy, more peaceful, always profit other people, profit the world. Even if you spend 100% of your time working in society, you have to improve the situation. But if during that time of working hard, you are not peaceful, you do not generate the energy of peace and compassion and understanding, it does not help you and it does not help any of us. So it is not a choice between the meditation hall and the world out there. Wherever you find yourself, if you are mindful, if you are concentrated, if you are peaceful and compassionate, that is good. There are those who spend 10 years in the meditation hall, but they do not help themselves and they do not help us at all. There are those who spend 30 years in society as a peace activists, but they are not able to generate brotherhood, sisterhood, harmony, and peace. They have not helped themselves. They have not helped the world at all. So the problem is that wherever we are, either in a meditation hall or out there in society, every step should be peace. Every breath should be joy and compassion. Thank you, Japan, for having asked the question.